to record another introduction. Muffin up to his tricks. You will find on this video lots of noise from Muffin interfering, but also some purring, so watch out for the purring. I wanted to show you this. I finished the throw that I was making in the Neapolitan ice cream colours. So it's a big square with little squares around the outside and a frill, and it's for a housewarming present for Beth, but she's already seen it, so I'm not spoiling anything. So I hope you enjoyed this week's video. It's about foods that I miss from the UK, and I came in 91, so it's, you know, it may be that nobody eats those things over there either, but I hope you enjoy anyway. I will be doing another video next week, I think, or at some point in the future, with the things that I missed about Australia last week, and anything that doesn't get said this week about Britain, or any interesting comments that you people have made. So basically, most of the things that I miss from the UK are things that you wouldn't eat very often. So most of like the day-to-day stuff is fine. You can get nearly everything the same. Australian obviously was settled mostly by British and Irish people. Aboriginal food hasn't made a big impact on most white people's eating. Like no one eats witchetty grubs. We don't eat a lot of native meat. Kangaroo is fairly widely available, but it's not popular. I think it had a reputation in the old days of being, you know, like vermin, and not nice. It's very lean. It's perfectly all right, but it's not like my local supermarket doesn't stock it. So the things that I miss were things that I would only eat rarely over there, but then, or in certain circumstances. Like, so say if you go and have a full English breakfast, hopefully you would get some black pudding with it. And I would never really cook black pudding at home, but I would always enjoy it out. And here, it's never offered with a breakfast. And the odd time I've bought it from when I've seen it in the shops, which is rarely, it's not been good. It hasn't had the right spicing or the right texture. So, you know, there's one thing. I mentioned about pork pies previously. I had a go at making one the other week. It came out quite well, but not, you know, that's the kind of thing I would have maybe either like at Christmas time or in a pub, maybe sometimes in a kind of ploughman's lunch situation with some cheese and pickles and tomato. You might get some pork pie, or you might take it out on a picnic, and people don't seem to do picnics as much here. Like, picnic was a very common thing for me to do in England, and I can't remember ever doing one here unless it's just eating when you're stopping on a journey, rather than going out to have a picnic. And the things I would buy for picnics, I remember Marks and Spencer's used to do some nice little chicken pies in a pork pie style. The flavour was lovely. Or maybe they were like actually they were more like a chicken sausage roll. But eating sausage rolls cold isn't really done here either. So sausage rolls are some kind of popular sort of pub snack with tomato sauce when they're hot, and they're very similar, although they tend to have beef, and the default sausage here is beef, but you can buy pork sausage. I've rarely found one that I really like though. The flavouring, again, it's the seasoning, I think, and the baked beans here don't taste the same at all. Like, they're okay, but I was very happy when Heinz started doing what they call English style baked beans, and I've converted Dave over to those. He likes those. So that's a thing. So I've got little notes here on my phone to try and remind me, but now I can't read it because there we go. So yeah, pies again. Here, like I said last week, the meat pie is a very common snack, but the pastry's just very blah. And I think the pastry in a pie should be part of what's nice about it. And here it's just like a container for the filling, which I think was originally the case in England too. But a pie should have nice pastry. Like my cousin Louise makes a delicious meat and potato pie, which for the Aussies isn't like a pie then with mashed potato on top. It's a pie with potato and meat inside, but the pastry itself is always lovely. So what else? You can't get a steak and kidney pie for love nor money, but then a lot of people in England don't like those, and maybe nobody eats those anymore. I do like it, but maybe I'm a weirdo. Something again that I would have often with a breakfast, a cooked breakfast, would be potato cakes, potato scones, or tatty scones if you're in Scotland, potato farls if you're in Ireland, which just don't exist here. I haven't got time to explain what everything is, so you can look that one up if you want. And again, they're not something I'd have very often, but they are something I had every time I went back to England for a visit, because I do like them. You can just stick them in the toaster and put butter on them. I love them. I don't know what it is, the texture. I read that one of the foods people from England or the UK say they miss the most when they're living overseas is crumpets, but crumpets are widely available here. So, you know, crumpets and English muffins, toastable muffins, and all of those things, bread, everything's much the same. When I first came, there was very little choice of cheese. There was only really varieties of cheddar, which is called tasty here, and there was like strong, mild, or vintage, something like tasty, mild, and some other thing, but it was all cheddar. Very little imported cheese at that time, but now, you know, there's still not a lot compared with England, but you can get blue cheeses, brie, parmesan as a block rather than that yellow powder that tastes like vomit, or you can get it pre-shredded. You can buy more sort of British imported cheeses, so I often get some Red Leicester. Very rarely see Cheshire or Wensleydale, so those kind of like white crumbly cheeses that must not have been popular when they did try and import them, because I haven't seen them for ages. Potatoes, still there are more varieties now than there were when I came in 91, but very hit and miss. You can't sort of guarantee that you can get a particular variety, but at least they are defining whether they're for mashing, boiling, or chipping or whatever. And never ever see new potatoes for sale. Like as a concept, it doesn't seem to exist. They sell small potatoes called chat potatoes, but they really taste just the same as big potatoes. They're just small potatoes, whereas new potatoes, which are always small, are dug out of the ground very early in the season, and they just have a different flavour. I particularly remember Jersey Royals being nice, but you don't get anything like that. So I miss those. I miss new potatoes. I very occasionally miss a Staffordshire oat cake, but I did make some of those once and they came out okay. I love rhubarb, and although you can buy it, it's usually soft and floppy and stringy, and I haven't had any success growing it myself, but it ought to grow here okay. It's like, say, in Tasmania the climate would be good, but it's not popular. Like more muffin edits on the back to the potato theme. Someone reminded me about curry sauce in British fish and chip shops, and I was never a huge curry sauce buyer. I would generally go with gravy. I would have a steak and kidney pudding and chips and gravy, and the rest of the family were having fish and chips. And quite often, even if you're just getting chips on their own, I would get gravy. But yeah, curry sauce is sold in fish and chip shops, but it's not spicy curry. It's just kind of yellowish brown. No, I can't say I miss it. Anyway, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, on the rhubarb, you might get a rhubarb crumble here, or apple and rhubarb, but you'd be surprised if you're from Britain because it's nearly always served cold, and even if it's served hot, then it'll be served with cold ice cream, which is very nice. But it's quite rare to get a hot pudding with hot custard. It's usually only people of British extraction, so poms, as the Aussies like to call them. And so I'm going to say goodbye for this week, but also, having just watched through this, I think my accent's hilarious. Like, I say potatoes and potatoes, and I say both. So sometimes I sound Pommy and sometimes I sound fairly Aussie. Interested to know if I sound very Aussie to the Brits, because a lot of the Aussies still think I sound very British. Anyway, Muffin's trying to escape, so I'm going to go. Have a great week. Bye bye.